Josh Denbeaux, foreclosure defense attorney, consumer warrior in New Jersey. Look, I'm getting a lot of calls, emails, texts, Facebook messages from potential clients I don't know, from friends, from existing clients, from former clients. They're asking me pretty much a very similar question, which is, when is my house going to get foreclosed upon? I haven't paid in a while, which really means is when are foreclosures going to restart in New Jersey? And I'm going to do a two-part video in one video. All right. I'm going to answer straight up and then I'm going to give you an explanation. Here's the answer. No one knows. I think that most foreclosures aren't going to start until the third quarter of 2021. Okay. That means after June. I don't want anybody who hears this to take it to the bank and say, oh my God, I don't have to worry, not till June of 2021. But I know that the FHA, that's what I think. Take it with a grain of salt. I have no particular inside information. Well, that's not true. I have some inside information, but a lot of this is guesswork. I guess what I want you to take from this right at the outset before I dive into the background for this is there's time to figure things out, to get ready, to get prepared, to maximize your potential result when things start really happening. To do that, you need to talk to people, but you can decide when you want to do that. Just, you've got time. Don't panic. Don't run around and talk to just anybody. Do your research. All right. So here's why I think it's not going to happen until third quarter 2021. There are three different sort of big picture types of foreclosing plaintiffs. There are foreclosing plaintiffs who are servicers who service for mortgage loan owners that only own FHA-backed, government-backed mortgages. And those foreclosures are not going to restart until after the FHA authorizes the FHFA, apologize for all the acronyms, the Fair Housing Act and its subsidiary, to go ahead and start the foreclosure filings. Right now, the forbearance, the moratorium on filing those complaints is to the end of February 2021. We started out with the forbearance until June of 2020. It keeps getting kicked back. The pandemic is going to get really ugly and horrible and way worse than ever over the next 3 months. We can't get away from it. We can just try to ameliorate it. We can support the federal government in getting people vaccinated as soon as we start actually trying to get people vaccinated. But the next 3 months are going to be absolutely the worst part of the pandemic. Guaranteed. This is math and science. This is not me guessing. That's a certainty. So I don't think that we're going to see any of the federal government release its hold on the FHA mortgage foreclosure filings during the next 3 months. I just don't see it happening. And I think that there's going to be so much of a fallout from the disaster, which is going to continue, just not the height of daily deaths at the peak we're going to see, which is going to be horrible. So I think it's going to be 2 quarters, and then we're going to start seeing the FHA hold be lifted. That's my thought. That's the first category. Second is non-FHA backed mortgages, private mortgages, but which are owned by the big banks on the corner. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all those, HSBC, all those banks that you see, Capital One, if they have any foreclosing plaintiffs. But the point is, the banks on the corner, their customers, their base is me, and it's you. And it's my family, and it's your family, it's your friends, it's everybody who you ever actually meet on the street or in your daily life. Those are your customers. And I read a study, I think from some Harvard Economic Review, about the big banks took billions and billions and billions of brand value hit when they foreclosed during the Great Recession, and then they changed some of their practices to be a little less harsh. They've learned from that. I just don't see those big banks, and some of this is guesswork, some of this is inside baseball, but not much. It's mostly guesswork. I don't see the big banks throwing away billions of dollars of brand value. And I don't think they're going to get too far ahead of the FHA release. At least most of them won't. So I think they're going to start foreclosing before the third quarter of this year, 2021. I don't know how much in advance. The last category are is actually two parts. One is loans that are owned by the servicers who foreclose in their own name. And the other is servicers who service for hedge funds, where the hedge funds own. Now, remember I said about the brand value loss amongst the corner banks, the banks you see in town. Hedge funds have customers too. They're just not you. They're not me. God, they're not me. They're not anybody you've ever met. They're banks, they're trillionaires, they're billionaires. There's people who are not part of your life, and they're not number in a very high number, and they only care about spreadsheets. So they don't care. So they're not going to be held back. And that's kind of the same of servicers. Mortgage servicers, their customers are hedge funds. It's not you. It's not me. It's not anybody you've ever met or care about or loved or hated. It's just nobody. They're just fictional entities. They're corporations who are not people too. Sorry, Mitt Romney. And so they don't care. They don't care if they don't have a brand to protect. So they're going to start sooner rather than later. And I could see those starting now. I can see those starting now. So far, they've played ball with the FHA, with the government, but they don't have to. I could see some of those foreclosures starting now. All right. So that's the best news. That's the best accurate news that I've got. Like I said, some of it's guesswork as to when foreclosures are going to restart in New Jersey, but there you have it. You guys can watch this video and make fun of me later if I'm wrong. There's always that. All right. Let's hope 2021 doesn't suck quite as bad as 2020. But honestly, people, the next quarter, next 3 months are going to be worst with the pandemic. Please stay safe. And I know we're all getting tired. We don't want to be solitary confinement anymore. But you just need to stay safe and protect yourself. All right. Later.